Uh-oh. USC did it again.
You are Locked On Trojans, your daily podcast on the USC Trojans. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Fight on, everyone. I'm your host, Mark Holkin, and thank you for making Locked On USC part of the Locked On Network, your first listen every day. Whether you're watching this show on YouTube, wherever you're downloading your podcast, this show is always free, and this show is always going to appreciate your support. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. As the playoffs wind down, the sport stops sporting like we want them to. But this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone. Every day, all summer long, visit FanDuel.com/locked-on, and you can get started. All right, said it. USC did it again. Lincoln Riley and his staff, they just wrapped up another official visit weekend. Should be the last one of the summer. And you know what they did? They got another commitment over the weekend. Yep. Right before the dead period's about to kick in for the season. Well, kick into its next season for the next month. USC did it. They grabbed another commitment. Now we're going to wait and find out who it is officially when this, fingers, yep, the bat salute, when it goes public. That's what we're waiting for now. Just to remind everybody again what the dead period means starting today, June 24th through July 24th. Dead period. That means no in-house, no in-face visits. None of any kind. I think you can still communicate on the phone or via text, that type of stuff. Essentially, though, you can't go running into the home. You can't go to the high schools. All that's off. Now, remember I said this last week on Locked On USC. I said specifically, USC needs to make so much noise and get as many commitments as possible because for these next 30 days, coaches basically essentially have to STFU. They can't do face-to-face visits. They can only communicate via social media, text message, on the phone. Very limited contact. Well, in between me making that claim, saying USC needs to make a lot of noise, I think everybody else, all those other programs, they were paying attention. They were listening in. Everybody listens to Locked On USC. Isaiah Gibson, Justice Terry, guess what? They're no longer committed. You already knew that because you watched Locked On USC. But here's something I need you to be aware of. And I've kind of already told you it's going to happen. Don't be shocked if another decommitment happens now when the dead period kicks in. It's going to be the perfect cover. Again, last week I mentioned this was, I came back from the Elite 11. I said, hey, you know what? I'm talking to some people and I'm hearing that Hilton Stubbs, he's going to be, he's on the flip watch list. It's going to happen. And you know what? That's fine. C'est la vie. Such is life. That's what you have to deal with when you follow recruiting. You get commitments, you get decommitments. But you know what? That doesn't mean that others aren't thinking about coming to USC. There aren't others out there who want to be Trojans. Let me remind everybody, here's who the guys who stuck with their commitment and they actually followed through and came to USC over the weekend for their official visit. Elijah Griffin, Jared Smith, Marco Jones, Trajan Odom. Those are big-time defensive linemen. Preston Castro, USC commit, cornerback. DeJuan Morris, commit, athlete, can play wide receiver, can play defensive back. Harry Dalton, I apologize. Harry Dalton, the running back from Virginia, commit to USC. Phillip Bell, the wide receiver from Mission Viejo High School, not committed. Hopefully he will be. You have offensive lineman Malachi Goodman from New Jersey. Late addition to the class, to the visitors group, Kadarius D. Reddick from Georgia. He's a safety. Remember that name. I'm going to talk about it here momentarily. And then you have offensive lineman Cardi Smith, offensive line commit to Auburn. I've mentioned his name before. And defensive line commit to USC, Gus Cordova. Remember, he shut down his recruitment. He's done. He doesn't want to talk to any more coaches. So for now on, his recruitment is in the dead period. Now, I mentioned USC got another commitment over the weekend. They got at least one Trojan to take the plunge when we saw Lincoln Riley send out the Trojan bat signal. It was Saturday night, around 10 o'clock p.m., West Coast time. Here are a couple clues. You guys can try and figure out who it is. We know it wasn't Tristan Castro. We know it wasn't DeJuan Morris or Harry Dalton or Gus Cordova. Those guys are already committed. Here's your other big clue. WeRSC.com's Scott Schrader said it's a defensive player. Figure it out from the rest. I think most want that news to be, either one of Elijah Griffin or Smith or Marco Jones or Trajan Odom. But you know what? You take what you get. I think USC can get at least two of those guys. There's a lot of smoke. Most believe that the commitment USC got was from the safety from Georgia. I said, remember the name. He likes to go by D. Reddick. His real name on his birth certificate is Kendarius. He's good. He's a good prospect. One of the best in the country, actually. Real good. He actually was committed. I say this name often. He was committed to Auburn. And then he flipped to the University of Central Florida. Then USC staff got in touch with him late. Why don't you come on out for a visit? He did. And it looks like he's going to make USC USC the third time. They're going to be the charm, right? We'll find out if that's who it is. According to his high school coach, he's a student of the game. His high school coach, Justin Rogers, he's the quarterback of our defense. He's a very sharp football IQ guy and an emotional leader for us. He's a natural leader for us. His great personality matches his great work ethic because he's such a competitor. What you see on the Friday nights is the same thing you'll see on a Monday afternoon practice. He'll be a solid player for them and be able to contribute in various ways. He will be a great locker room guy with a great personality that draws people in while he does things the right way and models the behavior you want as a coach, end quote. So that's what he was telling one of the Atlanta, I think it's one of the Atlanta publications. This is the type of player whomever gets D. Reddick is going to get. My common sense tells me this. If Reddick is in, if he's the guy that USC got a commitment from, Hilton Stubbs is probably on his way out. Okay? There was just too much smoke. Again, USC asked D to come visit late in the process. Typically, you're doing that. One, you needed more than one safety in your class, but you're probably not feeling that comfortable with what you have. What else happened over the weekend with recruiting? Well, Trajan Odom. At one time, I think everyone was thinking USC's probably got a really good chance for this young man. He's originally from California, Los Angeles area. He moved out to North Carolina, now at IMG Academy. He said he's making his decision known June 28th. That's what? Friday? I have a feeling Ohio State is still the team to beat. And that's despite USC getting his last official visit in. USC got the last word in before the dead period kicks in. This is what I will tell you. When he was asked if he would return to USC at some point after he just took this visit, this is what he said. I'm not sure, but hope to definitely get out to a game. So that's not really inspiring. I'm not saying it's a dead issue. We'll find out soon enough. But if Coach Henne and Coach Newell's D-line, if they look good when they play LSU and then follow it up with a strong performance against Michigan, then you know what? All these defensive line prospects who are once committed and who are now not committed, maybe they'll reconsider that USC is still the best place for development after they see it happen. Maybe that's what everyone's waiting for. Instead of believing in the vision that USC is trying to sell, They need to see it. Let's just get on before I get out of the segment. My everydayers. You remember me mentioning the name Carday Smith, offensive line commit, Auburn? Well, he was another late addition to this official visit group. He was out at USC over the weekend. He brought his mom. Had a really good time. I had mentioned that this guy could be on Coach Josh Henson's flip list. This is what Cardi told WeRSC.com after his visit. The visit showed me some different things and made USC a real hard push for me to be here. I will definitely be back for a game in the fall. End quote. Again, I have a really sneaky feeling Coach Henson's putting the work in, even though the results aren't public right now. Elijah Vacona, the 6'8", 350-pound behemoth, offensive lineman from Rancho Santa Margarita Catholic High School in Orange County. He's also announcing this week. We'll see if USC is going to be it. Starting to feel it a little bit. I think USC fans should anticipate the legacy becoming a commitment. Remember, great-grandfather, grandfather, mom. Yeah. I can't imagine him disappointing the family bloodline, but we'll see. Who knows? Look, I'd be really cool with an offensive line class of Vicona and Smith, Cardi Smith, and I don't know, is Nick Brooks in? Is he not? He took the visit to USC a couple of weeks ago. Been radio silent ever since that visit. Maybe he's a silent commit. Who knows? You know what USC fans shouldn't be doing? Getting mad at USC for any of the decommitments. We're going to talk about that in the next segment. I love sports. I love them so much. I wish they would never stop. If college football can go 24/7, 365, boom, I'm in heaven, nirvana. But as the playoffs wind down and we get fewer games and the sports aren't sporting like we want them to, FanDuel lets me keep sports going whenever I want. All I have to do is open up the app and dream up bets anytime I'm in the mood. And this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus. And they're doing that daily. That's right. There's something for everyone, every day, all summer long. So head on over to FanDuel.com/LockedOn and start making the most of the summer. FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. I know you're like me. You're watching Fox Sports. You're turning on ESPN all day on your TV, and all day long, you're hitting that mute button because someone's yelling, someone's screaming, and it's annoying. Make the switch to Locked On Sports today. It's a free 24/7 sports streaming channel, and it's programmed for you every day to bring you the biggest sports stories without all the screaming. Locked On Sports Today brings you can't-miss analysis, opinions, and news, and it's streaming for you 24/7 on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Trojan fans right now, they are big mad. They're mad at USC. They're mad at the collectives, I should say. They're mad at the recruits who were committed and no longer committed. Trojan fans are mad at USC while they're still wrapping up its last official visitor weekend of June. And during that time, they're wasting their energy. Why? Mostly because their own expectations aren't being met. Yep, we're going to have one of those lessons. USC fans right now, they're mad at everyone associated with the Trojans football program, except who they should be upset with. Trojan fans, take a deep breath. Breathe in, breathe out. Relax. Your anger at USC is misdirected. Because I honestly, I really feel a lot of you are working just way too hard to be angry just because you're not getting that return on your own emotional investment. I'm not talking about financially. Talk about your emotional investment. What you expect, what you think you deserve. I'm good with passion. I love passion. I'm passionate. I wear my heart on my sleeve. You know it. I want a passionate Trojan fan base. I'm constantly telling you, get your butts out of the Coliseum, fill the seats, support the team. But I also want a fan base that has a little bit of common sense, some impartiality. From what I take, most of this animus that everyone has directed at USC it's directed at their NIL, at their collectives, and their relationship with the whole recruiting process. Because it's taking USC and it's taking everything just too long to get figured out. And you know what? There is a little bit of truth to that. It did take USC a little bit longer than others to kind of get off the pot, make it happen. Just know this, okay? Most people associate USC's NIL with House of Victory. That's the collective that USC wants everybody to work through. But know this. House of Victory does not write a check until Lincoln Riley says, write the check. Okay? That's how it works, not vice versa. It's not House of Victory's show to run. That's not how the process works. Some fans are really mad because, they thought USC was paying recruits for their commitments during those unofficial visits. And now, all of a sudden, that anger has shifted to, well, why isn't USC meeting their financial obligations? Because the commits are decommitting. You can't have it both ways, folks. Look, I get it. I understand it. I really do. Football programs' lifeblood is recruiting. And usually, the better the players is going to equal better on-field results. There's usually a correlation. But USC's had the talent. That's not the issue. They had a Heisman winner returning last year. They're coming off an 11-win season. So how much of the on-field results had to do with the recruiting and not have to do with coaching and scheme? I mean, look, I understand there's a lot of anger that Lincoln Riley's staff is, taking too long to develop those relationships with the local high school talent. They're taking them for granted. They're upset because, instead of securing the best players in your own backyard, Coach Riley and the staff, they're focused on the higher rank recruits from across the country. There's the anger that still lingers from Coach Riley, feeling it in his gut that the defense was going to get it figured out with Alex Grinch. That anger was justified. I was leading the parade on that one. I think most of all, though, people aren't sure. They're angry because they're not sure USC is taking this whole new college football era seriously enough. They're not doing it financially. They're not making the financial investments. They're not being pragmatic. They're not doing what they need to do. Okay, well, you know what? Let's do a review here for a minute. Let's see why everyone feels why they feel like they have a right to be mad. Because I don't think you have a right to be mad at USC right now. Lincoln Riley is going into his third year as USC's head coach. Remember, the old athletic director, Mike Bone, his right-hand man, Brandon Sosna, who many feel was probably doing most of the legwork. They went out, they hired Lincoln Riley. Lincoln Riley brought in Caleb Williams. USC went from 4-8 to 11 wins, and they got a Heisman Trophy in year one. Okay. Mike Bone, stuff happened. Brandon Sosna, he took off for the NFL. Look what the Detroit Lions are doing right now. What did they replace them with? Jen Cohen, athletic director, got her from Washington. The football coach she hired, they were in the playoffs last year. So there's every indication that she's moving heaven and earth to USC's NIL functional. We know USC, before Lincoln Riley arrived, made a new football-only facilities financial investment. That place is should be ready to open, ready for use in 2026. We know for a fact that USC bailed on the Pac-12. That way they can move to the big conference to make more money and do more of all the above that I just mentioned. That was a pretty serious move, all because of football. That would help everything else in the USC's athletic department. And look, after Lincoln Riley waited a year too long, he went out, he bought a new defensive staff. USC made another financial investment. Okay, they invested a lot of money in that defensive staff. So the question is NIL. Okay, yes, there are some question marks. And again, this is where most of the anger is directed, because there are rumors out there that people will stake their lives on, paraphrasing. Let me be clear. Okay, USC's NIL, their issue has nothing to do with funding. Okay, I want to be clear about that. I want to be clear about that because others won't. They're just kind of throwing stuff against the wall to see what sticks. It is not House of Victory's job to ask a recruit, how much is it going to take for your commitment? That's not their role in the process. The issue at USC is with other NIL collectives that are making it difficult because of, I don't know, they might have something invested in it, business-wise, personally. For me, it's really hard for me to wrap my head around the notion that someone from within USC's walls would be willing to make it public that they are messing up internally. Does that make sense? To me, it's almost like cutting off your own nose to spite your face. And when stuff like that happens, I get phone calls. I get messages from parents asking me, what's this all about? And then I have to kind of bring them back off the ledge and say, look, let's look at it from this perspective. So if you want to be mad, USC fans, be mad at the way the recruiting game has evolved. Be mad at Coach Riley for wasting year number 2 with Caleb Williams because he held on to Alex Grinch too long. But remember this, when you point your finger and you want to blame, check it out. 1, 2, 3. There's 3 more fingers pointing right back at you. It's the fans' fault. Because look, if the fans are being honest, myself included, we're partially to blame. And it's because USC fans anticipate that USC needs to be the best every single year. And they should be. They should always be competing to be the best. They should always be recruiting the best. Well, now maybe you understand why I always stay away from the word expectation. Sometimes you don't always get what you want. So let me remind everyone that when you expect something and you don't get it, Trojan fan temper tantrums tend to pop up out of nowhere. And that's what we're experiencing right now. Look, there's plenty of blame to go around. Plenty. You can blame past poor leadership at USC and the direction of the NCAA with NIL and the transfer portal. You can blame poor recruiting service at player evaluations and even worse coaching and development. Blame the way the college game is changing. Blame the recruits who expect money to play college football. Most of all, just don't forget to blame yourself for putting such a high, finger quotes, expectation on a teenager's decision, because that's what you're doing. And you're getting upset when you don't get what you want. Passion, drive, and patience. What brings home the winning trophy is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. From superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the right prices you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guarantee Fit only available to U.S. customers. All right. Hopefully, most of you saw the episode I did with JD Piquel. It was up, put it up over the weekend. When you're done with this episode of Locked on USC, go check it out. And then when you're done with that episode, head on over to weareusc.com because there is a grip of recruiting information. A lot of content from this weekend. I can't fit it all into this episode, so go find out what you can over there, and I will fill you in throughout the week here. The reason why I wanted to do that show with JD Piquel so badly is because JD gets USC. He likes USC. He understands what it's all about. But he's not a Trojan. He's going to be impartial. He's going to be dispassionate. He's going to see it from the outside looking in. But you know what else that I like about him? The reason why I wanted him on the show, he's a nice counterbalance to me. One of the most positive guys out there. I even said it on the show. He reminds me of a young Yogi Roth. I loved what JD did earlier in the week last week when he used that Rocky Balboa meme on social media to tell fans, to kind of get off their knee, fight back. It's cliche. I know. I get it. But what doesn't kill you, it does make you stronger. It really does. We've all had obstacles in our life. We learn to overcome them. One step in front of the other, we keep moving forward. Well, you know what? That's where USC's football program is right now. They're that old school champ. They're trying to make a comeback. But last week, the champ took a liver shot. Look, anyone who's ever been hit in the liver, it's like right here, right under your rib cage, it hurts worse than getting hit below the belt. Yeah. Different kind of pain. Both will knock you down. Both will affect the way you breathe. But it'll knock you to your knees. That's all I'm trying to say. But you know what? Now it's up to USC. Are they going to stay down for the count, or are they going to respond? Because I have a feeling USC is going to respond. Maybe they're taking the 8 count, and then they're going to pop back up. Take as much time as you need. Catch your breath. Get back up. Get ready to fight. Be the underdog. Take on that role. Go take back their respect. And at the same time, just shut everybody up. In 69 days, that's when this fight really starts. That's when USC can take off the gloves, punch their way back to respectability, so to speak. And when I say respectability, I mean as being a national title contender. Remember, some of you might remember, no one thought that USC 2003 team would be able to pick up where 2002 left off. I want this team to come in this season just like that, under the radar. I want everybody anticipating USC losing to LSU. Because recruiting, it'll take care of itself when USC wins that title bout in Las Vegas. See, that's why I went with the boxing analogy. Prize fights in Las Vegas. That's where you want to be. And after they knock down LSU, a contender, they can now take on the reigning champ up there in Ann Arbor. Yeah. Go take back your respect. Knock those programs to their knees. When I talk to JD Piquel, that's the type of influence, that's the type of messaging I get. I try and be positive too. I try and stay balanced. I know what I'm going to get from that guy. I'm going to hopefully have him on the show again. Love that episode. Hope you did too. Let me know. Hit me up in the comments. Let me know what you thought. Like I said, recruiting will take care of itself if USC is winning on the football field. But before I end this episode of Locked on USC, I want to give you some words of wisdom from Coach Sean Nua, just to kind of let you know where I'm feeling, where I'm coming from. Coach Nua, he's allowed in my foxhole. My everydayers know exactly what I'm talking about when I make that when I make that description. This is what Coach Nua said. We will always respect the decisions each young man and their families make, and we wish them well. We also have faith in those in the foxhole with us, especially the warriors whom we are about to go to war with. The quest for finding the best Trojans will always be the mission. Just don't get it twisted. This is still USC, FTFO. All right. I'll be back with another episode of Locked on USC tomorrow. I'll probably have some more recruiting updates. I'll definitely have some more news about the USC team itself. So until then, everyone, you know what to do.